Yaakov, James, chapter 1. Yaakov, a servant of Elohim and of the Master Yahushua Messiah, to the 12 tribes who are in the dispersion, greetings. My brothers, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the proving of your belief works endurance. And let endurance have a perfect work, so that you be perfect and complete, lacking in naught. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of Elohim, who gives to all generously and without reproach, and it shall be given to him. But he should ask in belief, not doubting. For he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. For that man should not think that he shall receive whatever from the Master. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. And let the lowly brother boast in his exhortation, but the rich in his humiliation, because as a flower of the field he shall pass away. For the sun rose with burning heat, and withered the grass, and its flower fell, and its pretty appearance perished. So also the rich man shall fade away in his ways. Blessed is the man who does endure trial, for when he has been proved, he shall receive the crown of life which the Master has promised to those who love him. Let no one say when he is enticed, I am enticed by Elohim. For Elohim is not enticed by evil matters, and he entices no one. But each one is enticed when he is drawn away by his own desires and trapped. Then when desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And when sin, when it has been accomplished, brings forth death. Do not go astray, my beloved brothers. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no change nor shadow of turning. Having purposed it, he brought us forth by the word of truth, for us to be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. So then, my beloved brothers, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man does not work the righteousness of Elohim. Therefore put away all filthiness and overflow of evil, and receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to save your lives. And become doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. Because if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man who looks at his natural face in a mirror. For he looks at himself and goes away, and immediately forgets what he was like. But he that looked into the perfect Torah, that of freedom, and continues in it, not becoming a hearer and forgets, but a doer of work, this one shall be blessed in his doing of the Torah. If anyone among you thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his own heart, this one's religion is worthless. Clean and undefiled religion before the Elohim and Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction, and to keep oneself unstained from the world. Yaakov, James, chapter 2. My brothers, do not hold the belief of our Master Yahushua Messiah, the Master of esteem and partiality. For if there should come into your meeting a man with gold rings and a splendid robe, and there should also come in a poor one dressed in rags, and you pay attention to the one wearing the splendid robe, and say to him, you sit here in a good place, and say to the poor one, you stand there, or sit here by my feet. Have you not discriminated among yourselves, and become judges and with wicked thoughts? Listen, my beloved brothers. Has Elohim not chosen the poor of this world, rich in belief, and heirs of the reign which he promised to those who love him? But you have shown disrespect towards the poor man. Do not the rich oppress you and drag you into the courts? Do they not blaspheme that good name by which you are called? If you truly accomplish the sovereign law according to the scripture, you shall love your neighbor as yourself, you do well. But if you show partiality, you commit sin, being found guilty by the Torah as transgressors. For whoever shall guard all the Torah, and yet stumble in one point, he is guilty of all. For he who said, do not commit adultery, also said, do not murder. Now if you do not commit adultery, but you do murder, you have become a transgressor of Torah. So speak and so do as those who are to be judged by a Torah of freedom. For the judgment is without compassion to the one who has shown no compassion, and compassion boasts over judgment. My brothers, what use is it for anyone to say he has belief but does not have works? This belief is unable to save him. And if a brother or sister is naked and in need of daily food, but one of you says to them, go in peace, be warmed and be filled, but you do not give them the bodily needs, what use is it? So also belief, if it does not have works, it is in itself dead. But someone might say, you have belief and I have works. Show me your belief without your works, and I shall show you my belief by my works. You believe that Elohim is one? You do well. The demons also believe and shudder. But do you wish to know, O foolish man, that the belief without the works is dead? Was not Abraham our father declared right by works when he offered Yishak his son on the altar? Do you see that the belief was working with his works, and by the works the belief was perfected? And the scripture was filled, which says, Abraham believed Elohim, and it was reckoned to him for righteousness, and he was called Elohim's friend. You see, then, that a man is declared right by works, and not by belief alone. In the same way, was not Rahab the whore also declared right by works when she received the messengers and sent them out another way? For as the body without the spirit is dead, so also the belief is dead without the works. Yaakov, James chapter 3. Not many of you should become teachers, my brothers, knowing that we shall receive greater judgment. For we all stumble in many matters. If anyone does not stumble in word, he is a perfect man, able also to bridle the entire body. Look, we put bits in the mouths of horses for them to obey us, and we turn their body. Look at the ships too. Although they are so big and are driven by strong winds, they are turned by a very small rudder wherever the pilot intends. So too the tongue is a little member, yet boasts greatly. See how a little fire kindles a great forest? And the tongue is a fire, the world of unrighteousness. Among our members the tongue is set, the one defiling the entire body and setting on fire the wheel of life. And it is set on fire by Gehenna. For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and creature of the sea is tamed and has been tamed by mankind. But no man is able to tame the tongue. It is unruly evil, filled with deadly poison. With it we bless our Elohim and Father, and with it we curse men who have been made in the likeness of Elohim. Out of the same mouth proceed blessing and cursing. My brothers, this should not be so. Does the fountain send forth the sweet and the bitter from the same opening? My brothers, is a fig tree able to bear olives, or a grapevine figs? So neither is a fountain able to make salt and sweet water. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show by his good behavior his works in meekness of wisdom. But if you have bitter jealousy and self-seeking in your hearts, do not boast against and lie against the truth. This is not the wisdom coming down from above, but it is earthly, unspiritual, demonic. For where jealousy and self-seeking are, there is confusion and every foul deed. But the wisdom from above is first clean, then peaceable, gentle, ready to obey, filled with compassion and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. Yaakov, James, chapter 4. Where do fightings and strivings come from among you? Do they not come from your pleasures that battle in your members? You desire and do not have. You murder and are jealous and are unable to obtain. You strive and fight and you do not possess because you do not ask. You ask and do not receive because you ask evilly in order to spend it on your pleasures. Adulterers and adulteresses, do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with Elohim? Whoever therefore intends to be a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of Elohim. Or do you think that the scripture speaks to no purpose? Does the spirit which dwells in us intensely crave unto envy? but he gives greater favor. Because of this, he says, Elohim resists the proud, but gives favor to the humble. So then subject yourselves to Elohim. Resist the devil, and he shall flee from you. Draw near to Elohim, and he shall draw near to you. Cleanse hands, sinners, and cleanse the hearts, you double-minded. Lament and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning, and your joy to dejection. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Master, and he shall lift you up. Brothers, do not speak against one another. He that speaks against a brother and judges his brother speaks against Torah and judges Torah. And if you judge Torah, you are not a doer of Torah, but a judge. There is one lawgiver and judge who is able to save and to destroy. Who are you to judge another? Come now, you who say today or tomorrow, let us go to such and such a city. Spend a year there and trade and make a profit. When you do not know of tomorrow, for what is your life? For it is a vapor that appears for a little and then disappears. Instead of you saying, if the Master desires, we shall live and do this or that. But now you boast in your proud speeches. All such boasting is wicked. To him then who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin. Yaakov chapter 5. Come now, rich ones, weep, crying aloud over the hardships coming upon you. Your riches have rotted, and your garments have become moth-eaten. Your gold and silver have become rusty, and their rust shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh like fire. You have laid up treasure in the last days. See, the wages of the workmen who mowed your fields, which you kept back, cry out, and the cries of the reapers have reached the ears of Yahuwah of hosts. You have lived on the earth in pleasure and luxury. You have fattened your hearts as in a day of slaughter. You have condemned, you have murdered the righteous. He does not resist you. So, brothers, be patient until the coming of the Master. See, the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth, waiting patiently for it until it receives the early and latter rain. You too, be patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Master has drawn near. Do not grumble against each other, brothers, lest you be judged. See, the judge is standing at the door. My brothers, as an example of suffering and patience, take the prophets who spoke in the name of Yahuwah. See, we call those blessed to endure. You have heard of the endurance of Yaakov and saw the purpose of Yahuwah, and he is very sympathetic and compassionate. But above all, my brothers, do not swear either by the heaven or by the earth or with any other oath, but let your yea be yea and your no, no, lest you fall into judgment. Is any of you suffering evil? Let him pray. Is anyone in good spirits? Let him sing psalms. Is anyone among you sick? Let him call for the elders of the assembly, and let them pray over him, having anointed him with oil in the name of the Master. And the prayer of the belief shall save the sick, and the Master shall raise him up, and if he has committed sins, he shall be forgiven. Confess your trespasses to one another, and pray for one another, so that you are healed. The earnest prayer of a righteous one accomplishes much. Eliyahu was a man with feelings like us, and he prayed earnestly that it would not rain. And it did not rain on the land for 3 years and 6 months. And he prayed again, and the heaven gave rain, and the land brought forth its fruit. Brothers, if anyone among you goes astray from the truth, and someone turns him back, let him know that he who turns a sinner from the straying of his way shall save a life from death, and cover a great number of sins.